After my parents trespassed me from their property for trying to make contact with my 9 younger siblings, 3 of whom are adults that no one had seen or heard from in 5 years, I spent the next few months trying to get authorities involved. I spoke with a detective for an hour and a half, 2 hours, sat down for an interview, and told them everything. Had that detective tell me that they wanted to hear it all because they didn't want their department to end up on a documentary someday, like the Turpins, like the Frankies. They didn't want that. And so I thought it was going to go somewhere. I thought we were going to be able to find something to catch them in this, but it didn't go anywhere. Called Adult Protective Services, Child Protective Services, but then I finally had a breakthrough 2 months ago when I tried to deliver notes to my siblings again. Up until that point, I had been mostly cautious since the last time that I had printed off 100 copies of the note, put them in the backyard, got trespassed, because I didn't know what the perspective was for my younger siblings, if this was adding to me being the villain in their story or not, because I had been on that side of it before, and I know how bought into the narrative that everyone on the outside is evil and they're trying to tear apart our family and we don't need anybody outside of this house. I don't know if creating disruptions like that was feeding into that narrative or not. And the last thing I wanted to do is scare them off if they ever got the courage to leave, to scare them off from wanting to reach out to me. But this March, I was in town, I was driving by, I left some cookies and a note on the doorstep because my trespass warning was expired, and then I noticed that they have a basketball hoop in the driveway now. And for background, for about almost 15 years, when I was there and the years since then, we were not allowed to play in the front yard. We didn't ride bikes in the front yard. We didn't put Christmas lights in the front yard. We were not allowed to be in the front of the house for any reason. So it's interesting that all of a sudden there's a basketball hoop in the driveway. And I find out that they now allow my siblings to play basketball in the driveway at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whenever it gets dark at night. So nobody's out and about and would see them, but they are out playing basketball in the driveway after dark. So with that new information, I go home, I write another note for them, just all about how I love them, I miss them, I hope that we get to see each other again someday if they ever need anything. Here's my phone number, go to the neighbors, they have my phone number, just the same spiel as before, and print 100 copies of it on the same, I print it on colored paper, and the plan is if I can't catch them outside playing basketball, then I'll do the same Harry Potter, spread the notes everywhere, tuck them in hiding places, do anything to get this message through to them. And I come back a couple days later and wait it out, and they do come out after dark, and it's 6 of my siblings. It's the youngest 3 and my 23-year-old sister are still inside, but the middle 6 come out and they start playing basketball. And the plan was to have my boyfriend start with trying to deliver these notes to them, because if they recognize me, they might get scared because they know they're not supposed to talk to me. There's cameras up everywhere. They're afraid of everybody from our interactions with talking to the neighbors. They seem to be afraid of everybody, but maybe they would be less afraid of a stranger than they would of someone they know they're not supposed to be talking to. So my boyfriend approaches them, just starts making small talk with them. They're a little confused, but they're curious. They're talking to a person outside the house, and this isn't allowed, but it doesn't seem dangerous. And he just makes casual conversation with them, makes them feel comfortable, shoots a couple hoops with them, and is trying to kind of bring their barriers down so that maybe they would be less afraid. And meanwhile, I'm around the corner, like, just shaking because they're right there. I can hear them, and I just can't believe that this is actually happening. And finally, he says, like, lets them know who he is, how he knows me, and I come around the corner, and I get to see them. I hug all of them. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of getting caught with me. They're looking over their shoulders. They're checking the time. They're looking at the cameras, and they stand there, and we get to connect briefly. And I don't want to share too much of that story because I don't know how much of it they've been interrogated on. I don't know how much of it they've had to tell our parents about, so I don't want to expose them in that way, but it was so special. And it solidified to me that they don't want to not contact me. They're afraid of what will happen if they do, because they were so afraid that whole time that they were going to get caught, but they were so curious about me and what I've been up to and what I'm doing, and I got to talk to them about what they're doing and their hobbies, and it was just surreal. And then we almost got away with it. We were literally about to walk away and say, like, hey, we're gonna leave now so that you guys don't get in trouble. I was hugging them all goodbye, and all of a sudden my mom opens the door, and I'm standing right there in her driveway, and I've not seen my mom in 6 years, and she hasn't seen me in person, looking me in the face. She's seen me on her front lawn through the windows, but she has not seen me, and it's like she's looking at a ghost. And there's just silence for a minute, silence from everyone. My siblings are, like, their faces have dropped. They're like, oh no, like, we just got caught doing this is gonna be bad. And I felt so bad because we were literally about to get away. And then my mom starts yelling at me that I need to leave. You need to leave before your dad gets home. You need to leave. And I told her, like, I'm just here to talk to my siblings. I do end up leaving and walking back to my car because I learned my lesson last time, and I'm not about to get trespassed again. I want to have another opportunity like this. And they end up calling the police when my dad does get home, and the police didn't do anything, but reading the reports afterwards, they tried to say that I was trying to kidnap my siblings, and the kids in question, like, they tried to paint this as a luring kids, like kids in a candy kidnapping van situation, but the kids in question are 21, 19, 17, 16, and 15. So there's 5 of them. I think I said 6 earlier, but there's 5 of them. So they're older teenagers and adults. But my dad tries to paint this picture to the authorities that they're like these young children that are unable to think for themselves, act for themselves, and even the adults, like, they would not be able to choose who they want to talk to and what they want to do with their lives. So that's probably the experience they're having on the inside of the house, which is what I experienced as well. But that whole experience gave me hope that I can get through to them, that they are curious, but they're afraid, and they just need to continue to receive messages, hopefully through this TikTok. That's why I started this. It's because of that basketball incident, through the newsletters I send them every week, through the other creative ideas I have coming up, and getting tons of ideas from the comments in these TikToks, and just continue to try to get the message through to them that it's safe, that everything they know is not everything there is, and that they can go beyond the front door someday, and there's people out here waiting for them. So I hope that they are starting to get that message, and it'll get through to them someday.